Hello everyone, my name is Tabby and welcome back to my channel Keeping Tabs, where today I'm bringing you my March... Oh, it's my wrap up. I almost said TBR. Dang it. Okay, so I thought I would do something different. It's not really that different. I'm still going to do like the regular wrap up, but I decided to throw in something extra and hopefully I'll be able to keep this up for the rest of my wrap-ups. I've decided to add some Blackout poetry to my wrap-ups. So I have 3 books that I read in the month of March. Not that many, but I'm really happy with all of them. And I have 3 pieces of Blackout poetry to share with you guys. So I'm going to show you the poetry and then the book that goes with that poem, and then, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Okay, the first poem. His perfect light almost gone, the scarlet glow an ember, about to be ash, his tortured nerves screaming, he had no more time. So that poem was from page 303 from Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Artifices trilogy and the 12th book in the Shadowhunter novels, and I gave this a 5 glorious shining stars. I love this book so much. Oh, it's definitely the longest book she has written yet, and usually for her big chunky books I always feel like they're way bigger than they need to be. I always feel like there's so much added fluff that's not really necessary to the story. I mean, sure, it's fun to read, but it just makes the story go on way longer than it needs to. But for this book, it's humongous, and every page I loved it all. There was something happening all the time and it was great. And there's so many POVs in this, and usually for her books they always have multiple POVs, but usually for her books, and like in any POV book that has multiple POVs, there's usually like 1 or 2 characters that I don't really care about, and I'm just like skimming through their chapters to get to the characters that I actually care about. But this book, I loved every POV. I love these characters so much. I'm not gonna lie, there are some times in this book where it gets a little dramatic, but I mean, it's the 12th book in the Shadowhunter series. If you're not used to the dramatics of this book and this series, then I don't know what you're doing. So I'm used to it already. It kind of gets a little soap opera at times, but it's fine. I love it. There's really not much that I can say without spoiling, because it's the 3rd book in the trilogy and the 12th book in a series. So if you haven't picked this book up, or the series, or any of the Shadowhunter books, I really do recommend it. It's really fun. I just loved it. I loved it all. My favorite character in this book is Kieran. I don't know how that happened, because I hated this guy in book 1 in Lady Midnight. I didn't like him, but now I love him so much. He stole the show completely. Another thing that I liked about this book was that there were a lot of scenes with our original cast, with Jason, Clary, and Simon, and Izzy, and Alec, and Magnus, and it's just so nostalgic if you've been around since the beginning. Not since the beginning, like I started reading this in 2008, so I've been with these characters for more than 10 years. And so whenever Jace and Alec are on the page, I almost said screen, whenever they're on the page and they're like reminiscing about the good old days, I'm also reminiscing about the good old days, because it was so long ago for me as well. And it's just so many emotions. Let me know if you read this book and who your favorite character was in this series, who your favorite POV was, and also who is your favorite Mortal Instruments who is your favorite Shadowhunters character overall, because mine is definitely Jace Wayland. Just nothing compares to Jace, okay? But Kieran is definitely a number 2 now. I thought it might be Julian, because he's also precious and I love him, but Kieran just came out of nowhere in this book and stole my heart. I don't know what that was. Like, that was like a stabbing in the heart, and like, oh, you know what I mean? Anyways, I love him. Okay, now for my second Blackout poem. Find me, mother, take my shadow. From the start, I was caught in a trap. Already defeated, always tainted. That one was kind of cool. And that poem was from page 257 of the Red Scrolls of Magic, my ARC copy of page 257 of the ARC, not the final product. Oh yeah, it was a very Shadowhunter-y month, and I was loving it. I was living it. I was just living my best Shadowhunter life this month. This is about Alec and Magnus and their I always want to say honeymoon because I always just picture them as married, just always. Ever since City of Glass, they've been married in my head. But this is not a honeymoon. This is just a vacation, and it takes place during City of Fallen Angels. So right after City of Glass, they head on over to Europe, and during the events of City of Fallen Angels, this story is happening in Europe, and I loved it so much. I gave this one a 4 stars, mainly because of the characters and not so much like the character development. Definitely not because of Alec and Magnus, but because of her character choices. And not the choices that the characters made, but the people that she decided to put in the story. I think that her choice of characters, choice of characters, not character choices. What am I trying to say? I don't know. The characters that she included in the story made the story very predictable. That's what I'm saying. I have a review. I filmed it, but I'm going to release it closer to the release date of the book, which is April 9th. Now, the characters made the story predictable, and also the ending of this book. The ending felt like it was supposed to be a big surprise, but it's already mentioned in Queen of Air and Darkness, so we already know about that thing. But then in this book, it's like, oh, you didn't know, but here is it, here's the truth. And it's just like, oh, but we knew that. So yeah, I'm confused. But anyways, overall, it was a great book. It was so cute. Everything you ever wanted from Alec and Magnus is in this book. You need to read it. It's adorable. It's just great. Okay, let's get into the final poem I have for you guys. He tasted lilies on her breath. He thought she was the world, and he had found her once again. That one was very short and simple. That poem came from page 215 of A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is my first V.E. Schwab experience, and I loved it so much. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. Oh, I feel like most of you already know the whole gist of this. I loved every second of this book. It was really adventurous. It was very action-packed, and I wish I could comment on the writing style, but because I was so into the story, I just have no idea. I didn't pay attention to the writing style. It was just writing to me. I was so into it, man. I didn't even tab anything because I was just like, just reading. It was so good. The only reason I knocked off a star is because of characters. There's some things that I wanted more of from the characters, and certain character relationships, like Kel and his brother. They are very close, and Kel loves his brother so much and would do anything for him, would kill for him, would die for him, would do anything for him. And we only know that from being inside Kel's head. So whenever Kel and Rye are actually together, it doesn't really feel like, I don't really feel anything for Rye because we don't see a lot of him and we don't see a lot of that character interaction. So whenever Rye is being talked about, or whenever sad moments happen or happy moments happen regarding Kel's brother, I don't really care. I only care because Kel cares, but not because I care about the actual characters. So maybe we'll get more of Rye in the next books, and we'll get more of their brotherly bond in the next books. I'm hoping, but who knows. That's all I have to say for A Darker Shade of Magic, but I do have some like spoilery thoughts. So if you haven't read this book, then you can go. That's the end of my wrap up. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked my Blackout poetry session. Let me know what your thoughts are of that, and let me know if you've ever tried Blackout poetry. It's really fun, and I'm excited to do this more and more for my future monthly wrap ups. And if you're still here, then that means you've read Darker Shade of Magic, and yeah, I've got some things to say. First of all, I'm really upset about Holland. Okay, I really liked that guy. He was evil, but like, he was bound to the king. What was his name? Athos or something? The White King. Like, ooh, I wanted Holland to be okay. I wanted him to make it, and I'm so disappointed in Kel for, first of all, they sent Holland to Black London with the Rock, and he's not even dead. So he's obviously gonna be alive in Black London, and the Rock and everything else in Black London is gonna corrupt him. I mean, I get it, he had to be alive for them to send them through, but why would you send like the most evilest guy? Obviously he's gonna come back with a vengeance and everything is gonna suck again. But also the reason I'm upset about Kel is because Kel knows that everything that Holland did was because of the king and because of the bond that he had. but the king is dead and Holland is still alive. And so because the king is dead, then maybe, like, wouldn't that mean Holland isn't bound to him anymore? So he's like able to redeem himself and be free again? Like, why would he send him to Black London when now he has his own... The bond is broken. He's a free man. We know Kel felt bad about Holland. I feel bad about Holland. Why would he send him away when he could have had a chance to be a normal guy? Also, in the beginning of the book, when we're in Grey London, we meet King George from 1819, and I looked it up, and he dies in 1820, which means the Prince George is going to be king. Obviously, if that's going to happen in the book, or else why would they say, oh, it's 1819? They made that very clear because the king is going to die and the prince is going to come up, and I feel like the prince is probably going to be evil because they mentioned him in the beginning of the book, and Kel had a conversation about, I don't even know what the conversation was about, but he had a conversation with the prince, and then we just never saw him again or anything. So why would she, you know, do that if he wasn't gonna be evil? Also, Lila. Obviously, she's magical, and she's an Antari. I really feel like she's an Antari, obviously, because she has the eye. And in the beginning, when Kel first meets Lila, the first thing he says is, you have 2 different colored eyes. And I'm like, oh, that's random, whatever. But then later on, we find out, oh, she's got a glass eye because her eye is missing. And it happened when she was little, and she doesn't really remember why. Or maybe she does, and she's just not telling us, but she doesn't remember why. And obviously, it's because she had a black eye. And somebody scooped that out real quick when she was little. Said, nope, nope, not today. Not today. And they scooped out her black eye. So she's an Antari. And at the end, when he gave her the box to like practice her magic, because the priest said she's got magic because she's an Antari, he gave her the box. And because we already know the contents of that box, and because we already know that the bone is like the most scary, she's gonna be able to control that bone because she's an Antari, but also because of the cover of A Gathering of Shadows. That's the second book, right? But the cover of A Gathering of Shadows, that's Lila Bard, and there's like a bunch of hands reaching up for her. So that to me screams she can control bodies, because look, she's like, ooh, and then the hands are like, yeah. So you know what I mean? Okay, that is all I have for my March wrap up. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.